The 3 best Forrester Thanksgiving moments on Bold and the Beautiful. The Bold and the Beautiful has hosted quite the Thanksgiving gatherings over the years. From food mishaps to shocking family moments, the Day of Thanks has had some memorable moments. Key takeaways. A past B&B Thanksgiving led to a shocking revelation. Pam and Quinn clashed during the 2018 holiday. A tech-upgraded Forrester kitchen caused chaos. The 2025 Thanksgiving will bring Ridge and Taylor together. Tridge wedding cancelled. After a non-traditional B&B Thanksgiving, Taylor, then Krista Allen, was supposed to marry Ridge, Torsten K. That was when the truth about CPS being contacted by Thomas, Matthew Atkinson, was revealed, and the marriage didn't take place. The news stunned everyone in attendance, but Steffi, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, ensured the truth was told. It cost her parents' reunion, but what the secret did to Douglas, Henry Joseph Samory, was more important. Pam and Quinn at odds. During Thanksgiving 2018, Quinn, Rena Sofer, was married to Eric, John McCook, and hosted the meal for the family at their home. Despite most of the family being at peace, Pam, Allie Mills, wanted Eric with Donna, Jennifer Garais. The women were snarky, and Pam ensured that Quinn got into something before dinner began. However, her plan didn't keep Eric's wife from being at the table. Eventually, during the sharing of why everyone was thankful, Pam did acknowledge Quinn for including her in the meal. Charlie's technological fail. A Forrester Thanksgiving wouldn't be complete without some food drama. B&B saw the Forrester kitchen get an upgrade in technology, which caused chaos in the kitchen. Charlie, Dick Christie, was struggling to get things to work correctly when Brooke, Catherine Kelly Lang, and Katie, Heather Tom, stepped up to help. The end resulted in a cloud of smoke filling the kitchen, accompanied by screams. It was comical, which provided a welcome change in pace from the seriousness of other situations happening within the family. This story was originally reported on Soap Hub on November 27, 2025. Add Soap Hub as a preferred source by clicking here. Thanksgiving at the Forrester Mansion is never just a meal. It is a stage, sometimes serene, sometimes explosive, where love, rivalry, forgiveness, and fashion collide amid shimmering crystal and flawlessly roasted turkey. Over the decades, the holiday has become something of a sacred tradition for the Forresters, Logans, Spencers, and every other soul who manages to find their way into the grand, ivy-lined home. Here is a creative, heartfelt exploration of 3 of the most iconic Forrester Thanksgiving moments, reimagined with added depth, emotion, and storytelling flair. 1. The first Logan, Forrester Thanksgiving. A seat at the big table. The Forrester dining room felt like the inside of a snow globe, warm, glowing, and far too perfect for reality. Crystal chandeliers rained down golden light on a table dressed with autumn leaves, bone china plates, and the unmistakable scent of lemon herb turkey. This was the first Thanksgiving where Brooke Logan held a seat not as a guest, not as an interloper, but as part of the Forrester orbit, though the definition of part of was still being hotly debated. Eric sat at the head of the table, proud and optimistic as always. Stephanie, on the other hand, held her fork with the kind of rigid composure that warned everyone to stay in their lane. You could practically hear her internal monologue. Who invited the Logans? Oh right, my husband. Yet the holiday insisted on civility. When Eric tapped his glass and rose to give thanks, a hush fell over the group. Brooke, already nervous, smoothed the napkin across her lap. Ridge leaned slightly toward her, a gesture so small yet significant. It was a promise of belonging, of change. Thanksgiving, Eric said, is about opening our hearts. About gratitude. About the family we choose. Stephanie's eyebrow twitched, but she said nothing. Then came the tradition, each person offering a word of gratitude about the people around the table. It was usually a pleasant, if long-winded, exercise, but this time it felt like a test. When it came to Brooke, all eyes turned toward Stephanie, who was now in the position of having to say something kind, or at least convincingly neutral. After a long pause, Stephanie exhaled. I am grateful, she said, that we can all sit here together, peacefully, for the moment. It wasn't glowing praise, but it wasn't war either. Brooke smiled, and her smile softened the tension like sunlight fighting through storm clouds. Something shifted that night. It was the first Thanksgiving where the Logans were no longer outsiders. The first time the Forresters acknowledged that family expands, evolves, and sometimes includes the last people anyone expected. And though the battles between Brooke and Stephanie would continue for years, as epic battles do, that Thanksgiving planted the seed of an idea that both women, in different ways, would eventually accept. Family is bigger than blood. 2. The Thanksgiving of unlikely forgiveness. Quinn's redemption. Years later, Thanksgiving brought a very different group together. Quinn Fuller, sharp-tongued, unpredictable, and occasionally dangerous, stood in the Forrester mansion feeling like she had somehow wandered onto the wrong set. The table was larger now, expanded by marriages, divorces, reconciliations, and the chaotic blossoming of new relationships. But one constant remained: the Forrester tradition of giving thanks not just for blessings but for the people sitting nearby, especially the complicated ones. Quinn, who had once thrown people off cliffs, or close enough, found herself wedged between Pam and Wyatt. Pam had her lemon bars clutched like a shield, and Wyatt kept giving his mother silent, please-behave looks. Eric, of course, welcomed Quinn with warmth. He believed in redemption like some people believe in gravity. But others weren't so quick to forget. When the gratitude circle began, Quinn braced herself. She expected tension, a polite nod, maybe even a verbal slap delivered with a smile. But then something remarkable happened. It was Liam's turn to speak. Liam, who arguably had the most reason to resent her. The room quieted. "I'm grateful," Liam said slowly, "that people can change. And that we're all still trying. Even when it's hard." Quinn's breath caught. It wasn't forgiveness, not fully, but it was recognition. Acknowledgement. A rare gift. Next came Steffi, who added, "Thanksgiving is about progress. So, here's to moving forward." And then Pam, who had spent years glaring daggers at Quinn, softened her tone and said, "I'm grateful that this family tries, even when it feels impossible." Laughter bubbled around the table, and the tension melted like butter over warm bread. For a show built on betrayals, schemes, and passionate wars of the heart, this moment of unity was unforgettable. Quinn, for the first time, felt genuinely accepted, not because she had been perfect, but because she had been willing to grow. In her eyes, tears shimmered, startling everyone, including herself. It was one of the most human moments the Forrester mansion had ever witnessed.